Hello, welcome to Creating Assignments and Using LTI Tools in Canvas. We're excited to have you with us for our November webinar. You have the direct link to this slide deck, but if for any reason you wanted to share it with others or open it on another device, this short bit.ly will take you directly to the slide deck as well. Today we have Pam Batchelor with us, who is a consultant from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and I'm Christy Barham, your Strategic Customer Success Manager for North Carolina, and just really excited to have you with us again and or for the first time. Just a reminder that we have a December webinar as well that is crafting high quality feedback with Learning Mastery Gradebook, SpeedGrader, and Analytics. And if you have registered for the December webinar, it will be recorded and placed in a self-paced Canvas course like this one, which will be designed to take 1 hour to complete, and you will get a notification when that course becomes available if you have registered. If you have not yet registered, you can look at the schedule with the registration links and go ahead and register now. For today's webinar, we are going to review some example assignments, and then we will explore assignment settings and options in your Canvas course. We will create a Google Cloud assignment, and we will also add an external app or LTI and create an assignment with an external tool or LTI. So thinking about Canvas assignments, there are lots of things that you can add to your Canvas course. Especially, I always recommend that you build things in modules so that there is good organization in your course. Even if you choose not to use the public facing modules page with students, if you're using pages with embedded links to specific course items or daily activities, I still believe that designing your course in the background in modules is the best practice. And so I always build my course in modules, and I'll demonstrate that in just a moment for you. But if you are adding items to modules, you can add pages, which are best used just for content, if you have a presentation, video notes, if you have resources that you want students to access in order to help them with future activities or assignments. If you have embedded interactive activities that actually don't require a grade or a submission, then you can use pages. We know we have discussions where students can respond to prompts, and and all students can view each other's responses. You have quizzes, you have just files you can add. You can add an external link or URL, and you can add an external tool, which we will talk about. But first, we want to talk about assignments. So why would we use assignments versus any of those other items or item types? Basically, if you create an assignment and it is a graded assignment, then it's going to go into the grade book for you. But it's so much more than just a gradebook entry. You have a PowerSchool gradebook. If all you were ever doing was creating assignments to add a grade to, and you weren't trying to give students resources or allow them to submit digital content or give them rich feedback in Canvas, then you probably would not want to use Canvas just to be a grade book. However, it's so much more than that. With Canvas assignments, you can create mastery paths for differentiated learning opportunities. You can use a complete, incomplete status so that students, you're very easily, you can give them credit for work submitted if you're not grading for accuracy. You can accept online submissions in a variety of formats, so definitely helps to support UDL practices and giving students multiple means of expression and in multiple ways to demonstrate mastery and learning. You can attach rubrics, including outcomes aligned to rubrics, to assess students' performance against course standards. You can assign peer reviews, and you can make group assignments and just much more. So I'm going to show you some example assignments just to give you an idea of what they can look like. So this is a geology assignment, and you can see that the instructor here has given the students a little bit of background and context, including a video to watch. They have explained that in order to demonstrate understanding of the theory, then students would be creating a concept map. And students are given a tool that they can use, and they're also given some other options depending on the preference of the students. We like to embed that choice. The total point value of the assignment is listed for the students, as well as the different ways that they can submit that assignment. It could be via a website URL or a file upload. The due date was listed. It was assigned to everyone, because you can also assign to specific sections and or specific students. And then you also see that assignment rubric, some with just basic assignment criteria, and then one rubric indicator that is actually linked to a course standard, and would the results of the scoring of this particular outcome would help to feed the Learning Mastery gradebook for students and their demonstrated mastery on this particular objective. So there's one example. Gonna look at another example. So for this particular assignment, you can see this is a group assignment. And so the groups, students within the group can select their prompt, and they also can select the format. So again, we're embedding choice there. It is set up as a group assignment with this rubric attached. I'm going to show you a couple of settings here. For the group assignments, you can see this is a group assignment, and it is assigned to the group set project groups, which has already been created. You can create it directly when you're creating the assignment, or groups can also be created on your people page. So you can see here in project groups, I've already got, and I haven't actually set them up, but you can create those groups here. So let's just have group 1. And I can say how many people go in that group. And then I can drag them. There's lots of different ways to create groups. You can have it manually create them, or you can create them yourself. And even if you have it manually, or if you have it automatically created, then you can even adjust that group membership if needed. So lots of different ways to create groups, which we can look at in more depth later, but just wanted to show you that that was a group project. For our littler students, here is an example assignment where you say choose a book from your book box and record yourself reading it as part of to someone at home. And then you see that that submission is a media recording, and so the students would record themselves directly into Canvas. And then you have a rubric again attached to that that is continually updating you on student progress towards those objectives. And finally, I have an example here of the Google Cloud assignment. This shows you that this is a Google Doc. Each student gets their own copy of this Google Doc that they complete. And when they submit that, you see the student's copy directly in SpeedGrader. So we talked about that we're going to talk about LTI tools or external apps. This is an example of one, and it allows you to have assignments that are created that give each student a copy of their own Google Doc to work on. So those are some examples I wanted to share with you. You can create assignments that are online. You can create assignments that are intended to be submit on paper. You can even create assignments that have no submission. So if there are things that are observable skills, the performance tasks that you are doing or scoring via observation and not necessarily submission, you can create those types of assignments. Again, you can create a Google Doc, a group activity, something that is ungraded. So students would take action, but it's ungraded. You can have peer reviews. And again, we talked about Mastery Pass just a little bit before, but lots of choice there and the types of assignments you can create. We're going to go into a Canvas course and create some assignments. So we're going to practice that together. But I wanted to show you that I have linked to the Canvas assignment guides for instructors. So, or I linked to the guides. You've got assignments here. And so anything and everything that you might have a question about on how to create an assignment or use any of those different assignment types that I mentioned will be listed here. You also, in addition to the fact that I have linked the assignment guides here, within your courses, you have a help menu, or within Canvas, you have a help menu, and you can always search the Canvas guides, and then you can go to Canvas and your role as instructor, and it'll take you directly to that table of contents as well. So just in case you don't have my slide deck pulled up, that is how you can get there from within Canvas. So we're going to go into my course. So this is a brand new course. It has not been published. And I am on the modules page, which is the default for a brand new course. So I'm going to show you that I always build from modules, and a module, the modules page as a whole, I liken to either a file cabinet or a binder that contains all of your learning resources and activities for your course. And so if you had a file cabinet and you had a file for each unit of instruction, then you would think of each individual module perhaps as that unit. Or if you had a binder where you had all of your course resources and assignments and quizzes and tests, then you would think of each binder tab as a module. Now, some people design their modules in units, as I was just suggesting. Some people design their modules for weeks. I'm going to go ahead and start designing a module for a unit. But again, just know that some people will do this for a week. We even have those who do a module per day because they like that layout. But whatever method you choose, it's just really to help you organize that content. So I'm going to start adding a module, and I'm going to call my module Unit 1. And I'm going to add that here. And that's just a placeholder for me to put content into. Now I want to start adding an assignment. So typically with a module, I would probably have some type of unit overview. I would have my essential questions and I can statements, objectives, a checklist, a task list for the unit, or if it was per week, I would have a list of the week's activities for the students, as well as those objectives and essential questions. But I'm going to forgo that and hope that you have already learned how to add a page and added that type of content, as well as instructional resources before you get into assignments. So we're going to pretend that those types of things have already been added to your module, and I'm going to go in and create my first assignment. So on the module header, I just click the plus button and I click add assignments, and then I click on new assignment, and then I am going to add this, the assignment name. And so I can name that whatever I want it to be. And so I could say, this is going to be a listening activity. And and it's really nice if you have something like a naming scheme for your assignment, so that as you go into your gradebook or as students are looking for assignments that they know, what to be on the lookout for. So I'm going to go ahead and add that and start using that numbering scheme for my activities and assignments. I'm going to add that item there. So that has just added a placeholder for it. I have to click on that in order to open it up to edit and add detail. So I'm going to edit. And then this is where I can include any instructions needed. Please listen to this audio clip and respond to questions by recording your own voice using the media recorder. So I can give students instructions. If I had an audio clip, I'm just going to pretend that I've got one here. So just know I could record my own. If I had one, then I could find that. So I'm just going to say welcome. And we're going to do that in Spanish. I'm going to search for that. Oops. Well, we're going to just pretend I have my audio clip here and I would link it in. So I would take that, those words, and I could link it to. So let's just pretend that CNN is my audio clip. It's not, but we're going to say this is how I would link in an audio clip. So I could listen to that audio clip and have the students respond. With this box, this is called the Rich Content Editor. You have all of these different tools that you can use, including if I wanted to record my own audio clip. So I said that if I couldn't find one that I knew I wanted to use, or if I had found one like on YouTube, then I could go ahead and put that link in there and even do the dimensions. I could, if you had embed codes, you could use that. If I wanted to record it, then I could record, and you have to excuse my snap camera webcam, but I could go ahead and record my audio here. So let's just start recording. If this were my audio clip, then I could say, list the questions, the things that I wanted my students to respond to. And then when I was done with that, I could say finish. And I could say 1.01 audio clip. I'm going to name that and save it. And that would embed my audio clip right there. So you can use all of these tools to create your prompt, your assignment prompt for students. Then I'm going to come down and make decisions about points. I can decide what assignment group I want it to go into. Some people use total points and only use one group. If you are connected to PowerSchool and you're trying to use Grade Passback, then you would need to assign that to a PowerTeacher Pro imported category. You can display that grade as points, percentage, complete, incomplete, letter grade, a GPA scale, or not graded. I'm going to leave it as points. You can decide whether or not this assignment goes to the final grade. So this is a great opportunity that if you want to give students practice assignments that they get that feedback on. So you're going to provide them with a score to give them the feedback so that they know what they need to improve upon, but you don't necessarily want it to count towards the final grade. You can select that. If you had no submission required, you could select that online, on paper, external tool, or I actually have Mastery Connect, which is our assessment tool that you may not have, but if you have it, you can even select Mastery Connect as a submission type. In this case, I'm going to select online because I want my students to use the media recorder. That's what I'm going to select for their option there. I can decide if I want them to have a couple of attempts or not. So I'm going to give them 2 attempts, especially because it's a media recorder. May want to give them some feedback that I want them to be able to resubmit on. I'm not going to do this as a group assignment, but if I wanted to show you, Again, I can create those group sets here. I can allow self sign up. And if I do, I can require group members to be in the same section. I can decide to split it into so many equal groups with so many students per group, or I can create those groups later. So if you're doing a group assignment, you have all of those options, including if you wanted to grade students individually, you can do that. One caution with group assignments is you only need to have one student in the group submit. That submission will stand for all group members. So even if you want to grade them individually, there's still only one group submission. So just that's a note and a caution there. You could require peer reviews. If you wanted to allow peer reviews, you could either manually assign them or have it automatically assign, 2 reviews per user due, maybe 5 days after the original assignment is due. And you can even have those peer reviews appear anonymously. You can choose to either assign to everyone or you can assign to a specific section. If you have different course periods and they're on a different calendar or cadence, you could do that. If you wanted to assign it to individual students, you can do that. Note with this, if you're using Power Teacher Pro Grade Passback, you have to either assign to everyone or you have to assign to a complete Power School imported section in order for Grade Passback to work. Grade Passback will not work if you have assigned to individual students and or sections that you've created manually. You can also set a due date. Notice that you can adjust that time. Some people don't like the 11:59 default. You can adjust that time if you want to. You can also set an available from, an until date. Caution with these, I typically do not set these, especially not the until. And the reason why is because we always have students who are absent or need to make up work later. We've specifically seen this year, leniency and flexibility given to students to submit work past due dates or sometimes even past the ending of a grading term. And if you have set an until date, you're going to have to come back in and unlock that for students if that flexibility is given. So just know that if you set these, it's definitely something that you may have to adjust. If I had decided to make this available or assigned to my first period, made it due October 30th, I could have then gone in and assigned it to my second period, oops, and had that be due the 29th. And I could assign it to my third period and have it be due, oops, didn't mean to do that. I could have it be due on the 27th or whatever day I wanted to. So notice that you can have different due dates, but it needs to be to either everyone or a full Power School imported section in order for Grade Passback to work if you're utilizing that. When I'm done, I can either select to save or save and publish. Now, if I just save it, it is in my course. However, no students will be able to see it. I'm going to go back home, and that's going to take me to my modules page. And just note that if I do, anytime I want students to see something, I have to have green check marks here. Oops. It automatically did publish that one when I published the module. But both of these things have to be checked green. So your module has to be published as well as the individual items within the module in order for students to see them. Also, just a quick note, the course has to be published. So I haven't yet published this course. So I am going to publish it now. So that's how you create an assignment and make sure it's available for students. I'm going to go in and add another assignment. So I'm going to add another assignment, 1.02. And we're going to just use that same Frayer. Just going to real quickly show you how to add a Google Cloud assignment. So I'm going to add that item, going to open that up. and I'm going to go to edit. Now, there are two different ways to add Google assignments right now. So there is Google Doc Cloud Assignments, which is the tool that most are using and the one that we have had available for quite some time. There is a brand new one that Google created that's called Google Assignments LTI 1.3. If your district or school has turned that on, then you may have two options. I'm going to demonstrate Google Cloud Assignments right now because that's what most people have available. But do know there are two ways, and the workflows are just a little different for those two. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this Frayer activity is worth 10 points. I'm going to leave it in my assignments group. I'm going to leave it as points. This is what's really important for your Google Cloud Assignments submissions. You're going to change this submission type to external tool. And then you're going to go to find and you're going to look for Google Docs Cloud Assignment. So when I click on that Google Docs Cloud Assignment, that is going to take me to my Google Docs and a list of them, and I can select the Google Doc that I want students to use for this assignment, hit submit and select, and it looks something like this. And then again, I can decide if I want to allow multiple attempts. I can decide who is assigned to, and I can give it a due date. And then I'm just going to go ahead and save and publish. And that shows you that this is a cloud assignment. Students receive a copy of this document that they can modify for their assignment submissions. I want to show you what this looks like on the student side. So I'm going to go to people and I'm going to pretend to be this person. You can't do this as an instructor, and I do apologize about that. You do have a student view, but student view doesn't let you see Google Doc Cloud Assignments from a student view. So I have a fake student with a fake Google account that I add into my courses so that I can see what the Google assignments look like. So I'm going to show you from my student perspective what that looks like. You see the due date, the points. You see that they see they're submitting an external tool. This tells them that this is a copy that I've created for them. They can complete that here, or they actually can pop it out if they want a bigger window. We're going to just dismiss that note. So I am going to, so if I wanted to zoom it from a student perspective, I could zoom that there. That window is still a little small to work in, but certainly they can work in that here. They can add all of those details here within that Frayer model. So, and then when the student is done, they hit submit. And now that has been submitted. So it shows them it was submitted October 26th and at that time. I'm going to stop acting as the user, as the student now. I'm going to show you what it looks like on the teacher side. When the teacher wants to grade those submissions, the teacher would go to Speed Grader and they would see the students, which you can scroll through a list or also advance tab through basically by using those arrows. And the teacher sees the student submission. Teacher can add comments, highlight things. Teacher can draw, add comment bubbles, give all kinds of rich feedback here, including typing overall comments. The teacher can give overall comments for the assignment, attached files, record feedback. So if this is something, especially like for papers, this is really nice to be able to talk through, possibly read through selections of the paper and talk to students about what might strengthen those arguments. So I'm going to save that. And that's comment is submitted there. I can grade that. And if I had a rubric, I could use the rubric to grade it. Now those comments, all of that documentation is now available to the student. And when I go to my grade book, you'll see that that grade is in my grade book. If I'm syncing to Power Teacher Pro, if I've set that to go nightly, then by the next day, that grade would also be in Power Teacher Pro. If I go to the student, I'm going to act as user. The students can, click on that. Again, they see that submission there. They could click on their copy and get that back out in Google Docs if they wanted to do that. They can go to grades, and this also was available on the homepage as feedback. They could click on see the media comment there. And they can even click on it to see, gonna download a copy of that submission as a PDF and view feedback, which would show all of the teachers' comments and annotations. So it gives you lots of ways to give students feedback on their work. One thing that I wanted to point out was that Google Cloud assignments or Google Cloud Doc assignments, again, is an LTI or external tool, but there are lots of other external tools available, including SchoolNet, which I have the directions here for all things SchoolNet. SchoolNet has to be added by either your district or, if you're a charter school, your school Canvas admin first. So does Google. Google Cloud Assignments has to be added by the district level. But there are some apps that you as a teacher can add as long as your school or district has not limited the tools that are available to you. So some schools or districts do limit those. Others will allow you to add your own external tools. So this Edu App Center is a great place for finding tools that you can add into your course. So I know, some of the popular ones, some teachers really like using Flipgrid. So all of the directions for adding Flipgrid to your Canvas course are here. Another one that a lot of people enjoy using is Badger, because you can award badges to your students for completion of modules. So those directions are here. If you went through those directions, it would tell you to log into your Badger accounts, and then you would follow the directions. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my Badger account and just show you what that looks like. Let's see if I can log in here. Okay, so if I actually already have Badger in my account, but I'm going to show you, and in my course, but I'm going to show you what it would look like if I wanted to add it. In my course, I would go to the settings page and go to apps, and then I can go to view app configurations. You can see all the ones I have. If I wanted to add Badger for the first time, I would go to add an app, and I would go to by URL. And again, I would be following the directions. Let me go back to the Edu App Center. I would be following the directions that were listed here for Badger. Oops. Get a Badger US again. So those directions would tell me what I needed to do. What I need to do specifically is I would go to my Badger account, and it would allow me to go to app integrations. And please don't use, oops, that failed to load. There we go. Sorry about that. I would go to the right page. Notice these are going to be my key and secret. These are not going to be the ones you need, but your directions are going to be listed here too. So it's going to tell you how to do it. So I would go to following those directions. I would say Badger. I would get that shared or get that key, just like it says there. And I would get this secret. Then I would get this configuration URL. So all of these directions are listed there. Then I would submit that. Then once that was there, then that app would be available for me to use in my course. So lots of different apps and integrations that you can explore. And again, just a side note, some districts or schools do decide to basically whitelist and only allow certain apps, but most leave that open for you to explore. You will notice that some are going to require a paid account and some require you add them at the district level, but there are plenty that can be added at the course level as well. Directions for external apps. I have linked the guides for you here in case you need to look at how to add different apps if they require different configurations. I did one by using a URL, is what I showed you, what I demonstrated for you. Appreciate you spending your time with us today. I hope that as you are able to go back and rewind and pause and practice creating assignments following these instructions, that you'll find them easy and you will find lots of opportunities to create valuable learning experiences and engagements for your students. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.